In this presentation, we will explore the five key leadership styles: the autocratic, democratic, laissez-faire, situational, and servant leadership. Style offers a unique approach to guiding teams and organization. Autocratic leadership is a leadership characterized by a leader making decisions unilaterally, while democratic leadership encourages team involvement and collaboration in decision making. Laissez-faire leadership allows team members significant freedom to make their own decision with minimal interference from the leader. The situational leadership emphasizes adaptability, where leaders adjust their style based on the context and the needs of their team. And lastly, the servant leadership. It focuses on serving others, prioritizing the development and well-being of the team members. Understanding these styles help us recognize the diversity of how leaders can inspire and manage their groups or organization effectively.
Thank you, Rob. And now let's talk about autocratic leadership. Autocratic or authoritarian leaders are typically characterized by having complete control and decision making power. They usually make decisions based solely on their own ideas without considering input or feedback from their team members. An autocratic leadership style is most effective in situations that require firm control, such as during a crisis or critical event. In these moments, we rely on leaders to make tough decisions, communicate clearly, and execute a strategy with resolute focus. For instance, military leaders on the battlefield or those managing high risk emergencies often adopt this style. These are high stakes scenarios where a wrong decision can have a significant consequences. In such times, it's crucial to have a single authoritative voice providing clear direction. Outside of these high pressure situations, autocratic leadership tends to fall short. Why? Because leadership isn't a solo endeavor. It's about a group of people working together, supporting and backing each other up. The leader in such group should be someone with the greatest capacity to listen, empathize, speak out when something is wrong, and recognize that every team member has their own strengths and weaknesses. Leadership thrives when it fosters collaborations and synergy, not when it silences input and stifles diverse perspectives. And for the next leadership style, Miss Angeli will discuss it.
Let us move on the democratic style of leadership. This style of leadership involves employees in the decision making process. This way, employees are encouraged to share ideas, voice opinions, and contribute to discussions that impact the organization. But the final decision making responsibility still rests with the leader. A team with all members working usually accomplish more than just one person. A team typically generates more ideas, which means a higher probability of creative and effective results. And now let us move on to the next leadership style, which would be presented by Mr. Israel.
In laissez-faire leadership setup, the leader steps back from micromanaging and instead acts as a resource, trusting their team to work independently. Unlike more hand-on styles, this approach is about enabling team members to take control and lead themselves. The leader doesn't directly control tasks or set strict directions, rather, they provide minimal guidance. The laissez-faire style is particularly effective when team members are experienced, skilled, and responsible. The employees are typical confident in their abilities and prefer working independently. In this leadership style, the leader only steps into the monitor progress or offer support when specifically requested, letting the team handle the details. This style works best when the tasks are clearly defined. The team members have a solid understanding of what is expected. If everyone is on the same page and feels capable, laissez-faire leadership can empower them to take the ownership and innovate without needing constant oversight. But it's essential to note that this style might not suit every team. Without structure, it's possible for some team members to feel lost or become unproductive. That's why clearly defined roles and reliable self discipline are necessary for laissez faire leadership to succeed. To sum it up, laissez faire leadership is about trust and autonomy. It allows experienced teams to flourish their own with minimal interventions. When used in the right situation, it can be incredibly effective, creating an environment of innovation and independence.
Next is a situational leadership. It is a leadership model developed by Paul Hersey and Ken Blanchard in the late 1960s. It posits that there is no single best way to lead. Rather, effective leadership depends on the specific circumstances, particularly the development level of the followers or team members. In other words, leaders must adapt their leadership style based on the situation, adjusting their approach according to readiness, skills, and commitment of those they lead. It has two primary dimensions of leadership behavior. First is directive behavior. It is when a leader gives precise directions on what and how and when to do tasks along with clear expectations and instructions. When followers are unskilled or lack the ability to complete things on their own, directive behavior is most required. Second is supportive behavior. It is when a leader gives followers emotional support, motivation, and encouragement in order to boost their self-esteem and create a productive workplace. Supportive behavior is crucial for those who are competent but might not have the drive or self-assurance to do their responsibilities successfully. Now, we have two famous leaders that has kind of this leadership. First is Frances Hesselbein. She was a leader who shared her insights on leadership through books, interviews, and essays. Her leadership style was influenced by the writing of Peter Drucker. She is known for her definition of leadership as a matter of how to be, not how to do. Some of her other leadership teachings include consistency, courage, horizontal leadership, listening, self-evaluation, unconscious bias, and relationships. Hesselbein was the former CEO of the Girl Scouts of the United States of America. She received many awards and honors for her leadership, including the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 1998. The Frances Hesselbein Leadership Institute was created to strengthen and inspire the leadership of the social sector. She served leaders of nonprofit organizations through the Frances Hesselbein Leadership Institute. She served military leaders and their families through her work at the U.S. Military Academy, where she taught and lectured on leadership, and the Military Child and Education Coalition. Next is Alan Mulally, the former CEO of Ford Motor Company, had a participative leadership style that emphasized connection, communication, and compelling vision. Some of his other leadership teachings include connection, communication, vision, plan, matrix organization, and ground rules. Situational leadership emphasizes the importance of adaptability in leadership by recognizing that followers have different levels of competence and commitment. Effective leaders can adjust their approach to provide the right balance of direction and support. This dynamic leadership model is especially valuable in environments where teams or individuals are at varying levels of development, and where flexibility can better drive performance, motivation, and overall success.
Servant leadership is a leadership philosophy that emphasizes the leader's role as a servant to others. It focuses on empowering and supporting team members to achieve their full potential. Unlike traditional leadership models that prioritize power and control, servant leadership is somewhat about prioritizing the needs of others, listening actively, and fostering a culture of collaboration, trust, and ethical behavior. This approach encourages personal growth, community building, and the development of a strong relationship within the organization. One of the most well-known figures who uses servant leadership is Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhi led India to independence through nonviolent resistance and was deeply committed to serving his people. He lived a life of simplicity and humility, always prioritizing the welfare of the poor and marginalized. His leadership was not about asserting authority, but about empowering others to act for the greater good, demonstrating that true leadership comes from selflessness and dedication to the well being of others.
As different leadership styles have their strengths and weaknesses, some styles may be suited to one environment but it would be difficult to apply in another. A great leader has to be flexible, knowing how the team feels and where they need to be placed, the correct structure, atmosphere, and culture. A satisfied and happy team is a productive team. That's all. Thank you guys for listening.